Such a joy to be together. We'll start as always with a question that's come in from our online internet-based family joining us from all over the world, and then we'll open it up to any questions that anyone here might have. How do we control? We have to face so many challenges in life. How can we sustain happiness in life, like you? How to forgive people who do wrong to us? So, on Hannah? Thanks. So, on the one hand, it seems like a really basic common question. How do we control anger and be happy? And I'll come to that, but the questioner, who's anonymous, has actually said something that is really important to point out. They've said, how do we control anger when we have to face so many challenges in life? And the reason that I point this out specifically is there's an implication here that somehow challenges make us angry. That it would be so easy not to be angry if we just didn't have challenges. And what this means is that I become angry when I have difficulties in life. The external world doesn't dance according to my tune. Therefore, I become angry. And it's seen by this questioner as so obvious and natural that one would become angry when the world doesn't dance according to your tune, that they're asking how, with all of these challenges, can we not be angry? And that's a really critical point because it's something that a lot of us live in. This idea that somehow anger is the only natural reaction when people don't do what you want, don't treat you the right way, when challenges arise, difficulties arise. And what this does is it gives away all your power. It says you are a puppet. Essentially what the question is how not to be angry when I'm a puppet. If the challenges are what's going to make me angry, and challenges are things that are happening in the world around me, and it's inconceivable to me that one would not be angry about those challenges, then it means you're a puppet. And we are not puppets by most definite terms, non-controversial, non-ambiguous terms. We are not puppets. Therefore, that which happens in the external world should theoretically have no power to make you angry at all. Not quite so simple. We may not be puppets, but we are energetic beings. We pick up energy. But we're also beings who have visions and ideas of what we want. Some of those agendas are purely selfish. I want the job, I want the raise, I want the promotion, I want to be number one, I want the last box of cereal on the shelf, whatever it is. And some of them are actually much more rooted in even altruism or ideas of justice. Poverty makes us angry. Human rights abuses make us angry. Violence against innocent people makes us angry. And it should make us angry. The answer is not how to stop being angry about human rights abuses. So we look at the challenges of the world, and how do we not get angry in them? Well, first of all, we recognize we are not puppets. That's the most important piece. There is nothing anyone says or does that should have the power to change what your emotional state is. Life just happens. People are doing what they do. Everyone is engaged in their own karmic journey. And their karmic journey may include impatience, it may include cheating, it may include disloyalty, it may include anger, it may include arrogance, it may include dishonesty. It may include all sorts of things that trigger anger in you. But this is where you need to recognize, realize, and remember, I am not a puppet. They are dishonest, arrogant, disloyal, rude, mean, violent, whatever they may be. But what they are not is the ruler of me. They do not have the reins of my life, my heart, my mind in their hands. No matter how rude they are, no matter how mean they are, no matter how impatient or disloyal or corrupt they may be, they do not have the reins of me in their hands until and unless I give them. Because a lot of us give them over. You made me angry. It's your fault I'm angry. And one of the first rules of not just a spiritual life, but a powerful life at all, a balanced life, a happy and healthy life is, don't give away your power. Do not give the reins of your life in someone else's hands. No matter how rude or arrogant or disloyal or mean or violent they may be. So that's the first piece. The second piece is, okay, not necessarily so easy. How do we handle it when people are being like that? And this is where we unhook our awareness, our presence, our truth from that which is happening around us. The reason that it's so hard is because we're so hooked into how people are speaking, how they're acting, how the world is happening. Is it what I want? Is it not what I want? And we've literally hooked our own well-being, our own mental state into those things. And so we unhook it. We unhook it and we develop a practice of mindful awareness. So it's not that we are immune to those things. It's not that we don't notice them. It's not that we ignore it or deny it or suppress it. But it means I can be aware that someone is acting in a certain way or speaking in a certain way. I can be aware even that that triggers something in me without giving in to that trigger. I am the one who is aware. I notice it. I notice anger is rising in me. I notice that I'm getting, warm in the skin, warm in my hands. My heart rate is going up a bit. Blood pressure is going up. Brain is starting to go really fast. I notice it. I just notice it. Like you're watching something. You're just aware. You're not in the throes of it. You're not a slave to it. You're not a puppet to it. You're not one with it. You're watching it. You're aware of it. You're noticing it. The same way you would notice it in someone else, you notice it in yourself. Anger. And in that practice of being aware, you unhook your own inner self. Not only from that which is happening in the outer world, but from the habit of reaction in your own mind. Because we also identify as those habits. We say, I am angry, or I have depression, or I have anger issues, or I have this. That's not you. It's just a pattern. It's a pattern that has emerged in the development of your psyche since you were young. Psyche's been molded. It's been impacted. It's been affected. Certain patterns have emerged. But we are not our psyches. We are not patterns in the mind. And so you just notice it. You become aware of it. Yeah, look at that. Triggering that pattern. Okay. But you don't give in to it. You notice it. And then you very consciously draw the awareness somewhere else. Or you stay aware of the anger, just watching it, but not letting it take over you. Either way, you have the choice, you have the power. But you realize that you are this powerful spirit in a human body. And you're not a slave, and you're not a puppet, and you're not a pattern, and you're not a habit. Lastly, though, there are those things I mentioned that should make us angry. But here's what's important. That type of anger that we feel is an anger that's actually a catalyst. It's an anger that is an energy for positive change. It's not an anger that keeps us from sleeping or eating. It's not an anger that gives us a heart attack. It's not an anger that causes our pulse to race and our blood pressure to rise. It's an anger that is just a powerful catalyst that says something is not right. And that's the energy that brings about revolutions. We need that energy. We don't want to just be able to sit back and be peaceful while people starve to death. But us losing our sleep, us getting hospitalized with heart attacks, isn't helping the people who are starving. It only helps them if we are able to stay anchored and grounded peacefully, such that we can use that anger as an energetic catalyst to plan, to think, to innovate, to initiate, to bring about programs and policies that change the things that make us angry. But it's not that we've lost ourselves in it. One way is anger gets you. Anger uses you. Anger kills you. The other way is you are able to access that energy of anger to get yourself out of bed in the morning, to stop scrolling Facebook, to stand up from the breakfast table even before you finish the whole newspaper, and to get yourself actually working for something that means something, that's going to bring about some kind of change. So that's the anger that you want to hold on to and use as an energy. The other anger just suffocates you and kills you. Reclaim your power. Reclaim your autonomy. Reclaim your agency over your life. Beautiful. Good question. Other questions? Any question that anyone here has? Yeah. Come forward. There's a mic on a stand here.
I'm wondering what questions you have.
What questions I have? Mm-hmm. Interesting question. Well, it depends, I guess, for whom. I'm quite a curious sort, so I have lots of different questions for lots of different people. Yes.
Yeah, I'm a teacher myself, and I'm always interested in the questions that children have. So a teacher sitting and answering questions, it's interesting to think about what you're wondering about, and that's what I was curious about.
Oh, all right, okay. So on a deep level, what I'm really wondering about these days is methods, techniques, tools to somehow re-bridge all of those of us who seem to be going farther and farther apart in the world. I just spent most of January in America and have found myself deeply troubled, actually, by the amount of divisiveness and polarization that is happening on every basis. Doesn't matter what you think about this, what you think about that. It's been happening for the last almost decade-ish, but it just seems like it's getting worse and worse and worse. There have always been differences of opinions. There have always been people on, different sides of political parties, different sides of debates. But I'm going to be 53 next month, so old to some of you, but in the scheme of things, not that old. And I remember really vividly times in my adult life when people of different political parties stayed friends and could go out to dinner and just agree they weren't going to talk about politics. In which people who held different beliefs about international politics, about a variety of different things, a variety of different choices, were friends and just kind of agreed, yeah, we don't talk about these things. But they could be deep, good friends otherwise. And we seem to have lost that ability. And every time I've been in America recently, and I know it's not just America, but coming from America, it hits me more there. It's not something I've seen in India, interestingly. In India, actually, people seem to be coming more and more together. There seems to be less divisiveness. And so, if I had to give you one question that I'm thinking about these days, it would be that. It would be, what is the way? Because you can't come at it from a political standpoint, you can't come at it from a religious standpoint, you can't come at it from any of the standpoints in which there are already us and them camps. But to find a common ground on which to help people re-find that sacred humanity within themselves that is not separate from the sacred humanity in others. And it doesn't mean that they care less about issues and topics, but it means that there's no longer an enemy. There's no longer an us versus them. We seem to be degenerating into us versus them on basically every topic that matters. And from what I've seen in my life and in studying a bit of history is, you never get anywhere like that. Sustainable, peaceful societies and communities and nations are just never built by pushing certain people with certain beliefs away or quashing them or beating them. We only can build them when we build them together. Otherwise, you just go back and forth. First they're on top, then they're on top, then they're on top, and it's a constant fight. So I've been thinking a lot about working with universities, working with students, working with the youth to really help them not fall into the throes of divisiveness. Because we can only solve whatever problem we're looking at, whether it's violence, whether it's climate change, whether it's world hunger, whether it's lack of our water resources, whether it's air pollution, whether it's violence. We can only solve that actually when we come together. Drawing thicker and thicker lines between us isn't going to get us anywhere. So I've been opening myself up to a lot of that recently, of just, okay, God, show us the way. Show us the way. How do we bring them back together? Yeah. Thanks. First time I ever got that question. Yes. Come.
Hare Krishna Guruji. My name is Arpita and I hail from the city of Lucknow. So my question to you is that what should be the true purpose of life? Can spirituality help us to achieve it?
Beautiful. Absolutely, spirituality helps you achieve the purpose of life. I don't know how you would achieve it otherwise. Because the purpose of life, and this is true for all of us, every one of us, it's what you would call the universal Dharma. The purpose for all of us is to know who you are. It's why we're here. It's why we've taken this human birth, where we have the ability to be conscious, to be aware, is to use that awareness, use that consciousness to know the self. Whether we say God realization or self-realization or Atma Darshan or whatever word or phrase we may use, it's all about knowing the truth of the self. And spirituality is the only thing that's going to show that to you. And here's what's beautiful. When you start to begin to know the truth of who you are, then you start to begin to know the truth of others. Because the truth of you is the same as the truth of others. It's not that God's played favorites and is one with you, but not one with the other guy. The moment you start to realize your oneness with the divine, the more you notice everyone else's oneness with the divine. And then you notice your oneness with everyone else. Which, going back to the last question, is what we need today so badly. And so, yes, our spiritual practices are that which give us that. But also in terms of individual Dharma. Because in addition to our universal Dharma, we all have individual Dharma. That we're here in different karmic packages, different situations, circumstances. And in order to really find, know, unfold, blossom in your individual Dharma, only your spiritual practice is going to give you that, because otherwise it becomes all about how much money am I going to make? How big of a house am I going to build? How popular will I be? How prestigious will I be? How much will I make the neighbors jealous? How much am I going to earn and achieve and grab, fill myself? Spirituality lets you know yourself is full. You don't need all of that to fill yourself. What you need to do is empty yourself of that which is not self, so you can actually experience the truth of who you are. And only spirituality does that. The rest of the more material and commercial viewpoints are just all about, get ahead, get more, grab more, hold on to more. It's you or the other guy. They create this division. Spirituality brings us together.
Actually, I have one more question.
Sure.
Is that like this 5-letter
Your mic चालू कर दो कभी.
So this 5-letter word Dharma. So according to you, what is the real meaning of Dharma? Because I have read about Dharma and have read different definitions about it. So according to you, what is it?
According to me, what is Dharma? Well, I don't have any individual foundation of some kind of a depth of wisdom that I could say, scripture's on one side, here's my definition over here. But what I'll give you is what I've, through my learning, through my attempts to understand, have been able to synthesize from all of the different scriptures and teachings and masters, is it's said that Dharma is that protects us. Dharma holds us up. Dharma is that protects our lives, that protects everything. Dharma has been translated as the right way, the righteous way. So there's some, you could say, non-negotiables of Dharma. And that falls under just your normal umbrella of integrity, righteousness. And it's things like honesty, nonviolence, generosity, caring, sharing, right? If you say this is a dharmic person, or I'm going to live according to Dharma, it's always going to include these really basic tenets of just kind of the 10 commandments of being a good person, right? Don't lie, don't steal, don't harm, don't be stuck in your ego. Hang on, give me a minute. That's your umbrella of the basics of what you would call righteousness. And there's a part of Dharma that's absolutely righteousness. You can't be dharmic and not have those things. So those are a prerequisite, a non-negotiable aspect. But then you get into much deeper aspects of Dharma. Because it's not just a 10 commandments of righteous living. Dharma also implies the very nature of who you are. So the Dharma, there's that beautiful story, right, of the saint and the scorpion. And the scorpion's drowning in the river where the saint is bathing, and the saint picks up the scorpion to save it. And the scorpion stings him. And the sadhu who's bathing goes, ow, ow, flings the scorpion. Scorpion falls back in the water, starts to drown again. The sadhu picks it up again. Again it stings him. Again he instinctively flings his hand. Again it falls in the water. And this cycle goes on. And there's a guy watching from the riverbank. And finally he says, Baba, just let the scorpion drown. What are you doing? He's going to keep stinging you. Forget it. Mardne do usko. Let him die. And the saint says, he's stinging me because it is the scorpion's dharma to sting. It is my dharma to save. So if the scorpion's not leaving his dharma, why should I leave my dharma? So there's that aspect of dharma that's much deeper than just ethics and morals. But that's actually the real core of who you are. And from that place of dharma, we know how to live. We know what steps to take. We know what is it that's in alignment with not just the universal dharma, but our individual dharma. Because it's just as wrong, for some people, being a doctor, there's a lot of doctors I know who feel like their dharma is to be a doctor. To treat, to serve, to save in that way. I've heard many doctors say, doing surgery is my meditation. Like I can't sit with my eyes closed in the room meditating, but when I do surgery, that is when I am closest to God. Beautiful, that's their dharma. But then there's a whole bunch of other people who get pushed into certain professions because it's what their parents want or the culture wants or the community says this is what's better for you. Khub sare paisa kamayenge, chalo yehi kar do. Not dharma for them. They're doing a great thing. It's a great deed. They're serving humanity. But it's not their dharma. Maybe their dharma is to be an artist or a musician or a monk or a school teacher. So there's that aspect of dharma that's also so important in terms of your own path. And it may be very different from the path that your parents led, from the path that everybody you watched on TV or your neighbors led. And tragically, a lot of us are kind of told that those are the paths to follow, that here are your options. But if we're really going to live according to Dharma, non-negotiable, we have these values and ethics and morals. But then also, we have to be true to our own individual Dharma. And our spiritual practice helps us know what that is and have the courage to live that when all of the culture and society is saying, make money, build a house, buy cars, do this, do that, then you will be happy. This is what you all should do. For some people, sure, it's their dharma to be the head of a company. But for others, it's not. And that's where dharma is that which protects us on the individual level, on the level of our soul's journey, our karmic journey in this jivatma, this soul. So there's lots of different aspects of dharma. Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful. Other questions? Yes. Pranam.
We often speak about God as the creator.
I'm sorry, we often speak about God as?
The creator.
The creator, yes.
Who's created this universe. I have long been trying to figure out, he created himself or came out of some cosmic force. What was the reason for him to create this world, put life on it, make life go through all the rigors?
Just to go back to God.
Just to live,
Yes.
die, go back to him, get into the loop of karma, come back on the earth,
Yeah.
and be told, your karma was not good, so you're a beggar.
Yeah.
Your karma is not good, so you're lame. Your karma was very good, so you're a billionaire. And so on and so forth.
Okay.
But what was the need for the creator to recreate? He could have been happy where he is. just enjoying the universe, the planets. So I'm actually honestly trying to find an answer to this.
Okay, great question. It's actually a two-part question. We'll take the karma part first, and then we'll take the God's divine drama part second. And the karma part I want to take quickly for a moment, because you've said something that isn't exactly true, and it's important to clarify. You said your karma was bad, so you're a beggar. Your karma was bad, so you are physically challenged. Your karma was good, so you're a millionaire. But that's not actually how karma works. Karma is not a system of rewards and punishments. Karma is a system in which, number one, what you do has consequences. Not because you're being rewarded or punished, but simply natural consequences. You plant a peach seed, you get a peach tree. Not because the universe is punishing you or blessing you, but it's the law of nature. That which you plant, so you will get. You never plant a peach seed and get an apple tree or a rose bush, right? It's not because peaches are bad or good, or roses are good or bad. It's because this is exactly what you planted, so that's what you're going to get. The other aspect of karma is remembering that we are here in this cycle of birth and death. It's not just you plant a seed, you get a tree. It's you are getting exactly the tree with exactly the fruit in exactly the way that you individually, your full karmic package, not just the individual seeds you planted, but the entire package of all of the seeds that you've ever planted, all the actions you've ever done, all of the lifetimes of journey that your soul has gone on, you are getting exactly what you need to take your next step closer to God. And so it's not you're a beggar because you were bad. It's this situation for this particular minuscule, in the scheme of things, period of time. Your next step closer to realization, closer to truth, closer to the divine is best going to be served playing the role of a beggar. And this person's role is best going to be served by cycle is best going to be served by playing the role of a rich person. But it's not about rewards and punishments. It's not about you were good or bad. We're all here playing different roles at different times, based on the seeds we've planted, but much more deeply based on what is it that my individual soul needs to free itself from this cycle of birth and death, to purify that man, buddhi, ahankar, that impressions on the mind, the intellect, the ego, so that I can be free. So that's an important piece to remember. If you've got something in your life that feels bitter, instead of feeling like, oh my God, I've been punished, ask yourself, what is that I'm supposed to learn from this? What steps am I supposed to take through this, due to which it's been given to me? In terms of the why did God do this whole drama thing, we were all one with God. We're still one with God. We've never been anything but one with God. So God created this world of duality just for us to realize that it's not true and we're one with God. Why? It's a perennial question. It's a question for which until and unless you can say, God personally spoke to me and told me why, we don't actually have any guaranteed way of saying, I promise you this is the answer. But what I can tell you is that in my quarter of a century of spiritual study and practice, I've heard a lot of different explanations for it. The only one that on a deep personal level makes sense to me and feels right to me is the idea that God wanted to have the experience of two becoming one. And that's why God created this whole Leela, this divine drama. If you are already one, there's no experience of coming together. And coming together is really beautiful. Think about being separate from a loved one for a period of time. Maybe just a few hours, maybe a few days, maybe a few months. Now think about coming back. Now in your heart, you've always been together. It's not that you forgot them. But think about that joy of reuniting. Right? They say absence makes the heart grow fonder. Why? Because there's a power of reuniting that in many cases brings us closer than we were before. It's why I've often said a lot of us, and I certainly was guilty of this in my relationship phase of life, and a lot of us do this. I think women might do it more than men. I think we tend to do it more when we're younger, but we consciously or unconsciously stir up trouble in our relationship unnecessarily, just because we're kind of a little bored. Things are going great, there's no problem. You're in a long-term relationship, a marriage, or just an otherwise really long-term relationship. Things are fine, no problem. But you get into kind of, a bit of a rut. Like same old, and because a lot of us don't have that depth of finding the newness, even within that rut, in the relationship, it's difficult. What we end up doing instead is we provoke fights. Nonsense fights for no reason at all. And when you're really deep and honest and insightful and contemplative, what you realize is there was no reason for that fight, except I was bored. And I wanted to kind of create a little bit of passion here. Things were just a little too boring. And so you create a fight. Now you're on separate sides of the room. You don't speak. You slam doors. And eventually you're going to make up. And in that making up, you come back together closer, more passionately than you were before you started the fight. And hence we do this periodically. And so the only explanation that I've ever heard that made sense to me was God wanted to feel the experience of two becoming one. And in order to do so, God had to create this illusion of separation in order that we would re-remember. Like when you're in a fight, you re-remember, oh my God, I actually love you. I don't want to be fighting. And you come back together. And you come back together with an intensity and an awareness that you didn't have before. So that's the only explanation that to me has made any sense. Because I think, well, if we're created as God, then maybe that inner instinct that we have on little levels to turn one into two so that we can become one again, maybe that's a bit of the reflection of that instinct that God had that led to the creation of the whole world. Of course. Beautiful. Will you go grab Nandini? I hope you all have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your evening. As I mentioned yesterday, we are having a special few-day spiritual retreat here that started today with yoga and meditation and different talks and activities. And if it's something that you are interested in after the satsang, please stay back. Rohan will answer questions about it, give you more information about it. We also have daily beautiful meditation, yoga, morning fire ceremonies, of course the evening arati, and everything is open to everyone. There's no charge for anything. You're all welcome to come for all of that. So we hope that you will join us for all of those beautiful programs. There's a schedule up in the reception area. Also, on a quick logistic note, I will be out tomorrow and the next day. I'll be back late on the 11th evening, so we will not have satsang tomorrow or the next day, but we will gather again on the 12th. So today's 9th, yeah. 10th, 11th, no satsang. We'll gather together again on the 12th. And lastly, we have a very beautiful birthday to celebrate. And I love celebrating birthdays in satsang because we have our family from all over the world. And today we are celebrating our beautiful Ganga Nandiniji's birthday. And what we do in our satsang celebrations is we sing happy birthday together in English. Everybody knows that one. And then, wherever you're from, whatever country you're from, whatever language you know how to sing happy birthday in, you're going to raise your hand and you're going to tell us where you're from and what language you're going to sing happy birthday in. And we get to sing happy birthday so many times in so many different languages based on all of the people who are here. So I'll ask Nandiniji to come forward so that you can have everybody sing beautiful happy birthday. And it's such a joy to celebrate her and to have this beautiful chance to shower some of that love upon her that she showers upon everyone and everything that she touches. So let's join together as we sing in English and then get ready. The satsang birthday celebrations are many people's singing debut. So no shyness, do not worry, we've heard it all. But if you've got a language, you're singing with us tonight. So we join together in English and then we'll take up the rest. Together. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ganga Nandini. Happy birthday to you. And now, raise your hand if you've got, actually, you know what, go to the mics. Rather than waste time sending the mic around, whoever is next with another language, get ready here at this mic.
Joyeux anniversaire, joyeux anniversaire, joyeux anniversaire Ganga Nandiniji, joyeux anniversaire.
Yes, come. Either one.
बारे बारे दिन ये आए, बारे बारे दिल ये गाए, तुम जियो हजारों साल, ये हमारी आरज़ू. हैप्पी बर्थडे टू यू, हैप्पी बर्थडे टू यू, हैप्पी बर्थडे टू यू, happy birthday to you.
Great. Other languages. Don't be shy. Yeah, you work for food.
Lang sa je leven, lang sa je leven, lang sa je leven in the gloria, in the gloria, in the gloria. Hippity pip, hurrah! Hippity pip, hurrah! Hippity pip, hurrah!
I'm from Australia, but I speak Italian, so I'll be
Lovely.
I'll just do this as like a selfie. Tanti auguri a te, tanti auguri a te, tanti auguri a Nandini, tanti auguri a te.
Other languages. Yes.
Can we sing in Spanish?
Sure, of course. All languages most welcome.
Cumpleaños feliz, cumpleaños feliz, cumpleaños feliz Ganga Nandiniji, cumpleaños feliz.
Yes.
Oh, roule, roule, oh, roule, roule, oh, roule, roule, oligane litlo, hip hip, hooray!
What language was that?
South Africa.
Ah.
That is Tswana.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was a first. Wonderful. Yes, please. Tell us what language it is first. Portuguese, great.
Parabéns pra...
Again.
Parabéns pra você nessa data querida. Muitas felicidades, muitos anos de vida.
Yes.
Actually, I'm going to use American Sign Language, which is a community that I'm involved with, so
Wonderful.
you won't hear it, okay?
Yes. Wonderful. Any other languages?
ગુજરાતી છું.
હા.
गंगा नंदी जी दीदी ने शुभ शुभ जन्मदिवस निमित्ते शुभ शुभकामनाओं और तंदुरुस्ती हेल्थ वेल्थ सब हमारी तरफ से शुभ शुभकामनाएं। और दीदी का प्रोग्राम मैं टीवी में देखती थी, हर रोज़ देखती थी। आज मुझे यहाँ मिल गया तो बहुत खुशी है, बहुत खुशी है, बहुत प्रसन्न हूँ। और दीदी का जन्मदिवस में भी भाग लिया, इसलिए बहुत प्रसन्न हूँ। आपको शुभकामनाएं, हमारी तरफ से प्रार्थना प्रार्थना प्रार्थना।
Yes.
One more language, but I would like you to guess. С днем рождения тебя, с днем рождения тебя, дорогая Ганга Нандини, поздравляем тебя. Can you guess what language is it? Russian, right? Yes. Yes, I knew somebody would tell the language.
Wonderful. Any other languages?
Oh, Sanskrit.
Yeah. पर आप लोग लास्ट होंगे तो एक सेकंड रुकिएगा. Any other languages? Last chance.
There's one in the doorway there.
Yes, yes.
आमच्या सगळ्यांच्या तर्फेने तुम्हाला वाढदिवसाच्या हार्दिक शुभेच्छा. माझा भोलेनाथ तुम्हाला खूप खूप शुभकामना देतात. आशीर्वाद. थँक्यू. फ्रॉम मुंबई, महाराष्ट्र.
चलो संस्कृत में.
फिर वो स्टैंड था पीछे कभी.
सुदीनां सुदीनां जन्मदिनं तव भवतु मङ्गलं जन्मदिनं तव सुदीनां सुदीनां जन्मदिनं तव भवतु मङ्गलं जन्मदिनं विजयी भव सर्वत्र सर्वदा भवतु मङ्गलं जन्मदिनं तव सुदीनां सुदीनां जन्मदिनं तव भवतु मङ्गलं जन्मदिनं तव भवतु मङ्गलं जन्मदिनं तव भवतु मङ्गलं जन्मदिनं तव.
Yes. One more. Wonderful.
So Ram Ramsa, I'm basically from Ajmer and मैं मारवाड़ी में राजस्थानी मारवाड़ी जो लैंग्वेज है उसमें. So राम रामसा, आपने आपके जन्मदिन के खूब खूब बधाई एवं हार्दिक शुभेच्छा. एंड एक छोटी सी 4 लाइन्स हम सभी मिलके गाएंगे कि जन्म दिवस है आज गुरु का मिलके मनाएंगे. जन्म दिवस है आज गुरु का मिलके मनाएंगे. झूमेंगे नाचेंगे और सबको नचाएंगे कि मैनी मैनी रिटर्न्स ऑफ द डे. गुरु माँ हैप्पी बर्थडे.
इनकी बर्थडे.
ओह अच्छा, ओके.
गंगा नंदिनी जी.
All right. Extremely sorry for that, but happy birthday to you as well. And
we are one.
well.
We are one.
Happy birthday to you.
We are one.
Anyway,
Ram Ram.
एक ही बात है, एक ही बात है.
It's a month.
एक ही बात है. Beautiful. Wonderful. Have a beautiful, beautiful, love-filled rest of your evening. And I will see you all back on the 12th. But please do be sure to take advantage of all of the other beautiful programs during the days.